the veto already having been spoken about, I think it's pretty well set up for Lag to actually have a good shot at taking them the distance here, if not maybe even closing it in 2. But that's a bit deep. I think personally, I'm feeling a 3-mapper here that will lean in towards getting info. But if Lag are going to win, I have a feeling it would have to be in 2.
100%. I think that's the win condition. I think it's keeping hot on that measure that we put up on those expectations for how they were looking yesterday. What type of brand of Counter-Strike they were playing against Party Astronauts. It was brutal, Tony. Remember how they were set up, but now it's getting info set up with a good grab. They get the first chance here on Train at a CT side. I'm not sure LAG are going to give them much time to breathe, though. They're going to be storming right out A, and at the tip of Wolffe right here, getting this on an entry. That's exactly why he picked him up, immediately getting revenge on Snav.
That entry pathing was wicked. Those two players had no idea what was about to blindside them through the center of Sandwich, and Shane not ready for Brett's position perhaps as he's tucked behind this metal beam, expecting him to come from maybe pop, but now it's a close range fight in which Mason's got to turn his head on a swivel in a second maybe or not, as Marky takes a little too long in order to activate from back of the CT spawn. He reveals himself, but again, too little too late unless he hits beamers, and Sandman's just waiting for his arrival. He was patiently awaiting it as Mason was dealing with the ones in through Con, and that first round is looking smooth.
Looking beautiful, Tony. That is, I mean, I'll kind of rev up what you were bringing up. Even, like, as it was beautiful, you just had to, like, comment on it. That was great pathing in from LAG. They were very much ready to go on that strat to just pop out A and really set the tone early. They reach in back with the force, and let's see some fireworks on this scout slump.
It's a beautiful tweet you put out about you and I
appreciate it.
In this game.
Of course. I'm quite the artist and writer.
Who is this guy with Fi?
I think he's on the BA stream, man. He's
problematic, actually, though.
Plenty of NACS to get on today.
That early kill onto Wolffe, who was a pretty big portion of their openings in the last round, gives them a gun that they could throw over to one of the pistol players. More importantly, space into pop. But they don't have any flashes or smokes or mollies to try and keep anybody else away. So they're just going to need to group up, try and clump, and get what they can as far as control would be concerned. I don't know if there was a nade on the body of the initial aggressor, but it's Mason who looks to recover that lost ground and maybe track them even deeper in towards the site with some support from behind.
Take their next couple of steps. Snap long range on these MP9s. It's going to actually be their bane. That is Slump finishing the job, and then Marky is so clean. Constantly gonna have to show up with some of the best on the rival, and he was cooking on Anubis yesterday versus Party Astronauts. He's left alone here, even with the bomb on his back. I think he'll just be hiding for as long as he can. Might be getting info to tee off on him, but a 1v5 they've successfully recovered.
Snap taking a lot of time in knowing he's low on HP and not trying to throw away his life needlessly, even waiting for Dare to go down to try and get the info to start with, and then takes his moment after the flashbang. One thing North American players don't really know how to do all too well is rein it in and not peek when you don't gotta, and Snav showing some decent discipline, following his double kill and, you know, closing it with his third. Thank you to that patience. It's netted him a lot of extra cash into the future and a Galil, an upgrade, and knowing their opponents are going to be kind of broke, knowing that there wasn't any plant, knowing that they've barely got any frags with the SMGs that they had, and by barely I mean one, and out towards the B site they will go. The bomb is there, fire at the feet, but not going to be burnt. They're actually going to be making it through relatively safely until the arrival of the rotators is here.
Ooh, Snap, automatic to that second shot, should be a bomb plant secured for LAG. Let's see if Mason can dust up any more on that. His chance denied. And getting info, it's only one casualty. Shane took the brunt end of that with LAG running right down the ramp.
C4 being punched in actually is pretty big for them for the future. I mean, that was a force round, like I said, but, you know, this one becomes a lot easier to look at your cash flow and say, well, our next gun round is actually going to have some legs to it, thankfully. Whereas otherwise, it would have been kind of awkward. Would have been 650 less for each player. Would have been less utility in the follow-up. And now actually even making this one slightly dangerous, you know, better than just blocks, 2 flashbangs and a smoke accompanying these guys. The Snap is only partially blind. Eventually the second will deal him a much dirtier hand, but thankfully Marquee Utility soars in right on the nick of time as well as on the ball. And on the dot as the elevation will save nobody. Sandman's dealt with and Brett's the last left standing. 1 kill would be nice, but I don't even think that that's going to be assured.
This is a great energy that you can already see forming by getting info. This is sort of the speed that LAG found, immediately on that Inferno that PA was trying to knock on the door with, right to grab. And it's, the same sort of punish that you're trying to get in. It's an interesting bit at the beginning of this veto where getting info could, particularly step up. But it's kind of the classic, Timberman conversation with, how it's gone, especially in the last couple of months with, a lot of their players kind of being around and having, a lot of these, roster moves getting down. We consider all of the vetoes. We consider everything, playing with a sub or two at so many Fragadelphias. And you want to know why they win those Fragadelphias is because they literally just shoot your head off. So much better. I mean, it was kind of looking like we may get that turn from the LAG pistol round, but getting info arrived, and especially with Snav, right? I mean, the last time we got to see Snav, we were commenting that, with that back onto Boss, he was one of their best players just individually quite above the rest. He was putting up great ratings.
Soaring Molotovs, flushing at anybody who would be playing at E-Box. Dare actually going through the smoke, as the name would imply. Doing the best that he can in order to get right in front of their faces, should they have actually gone themselves into T-Con, but no, it's actually going to be clean and clear. No one awaiting his arrival. Instead, they're going to be taking that time to flush out this upper hall, to check on what's the temperature levels of the opposite end of the map, and maybe a late execution, sure, but otherwise fully forced into this are getting info, and they've gotten exactly that. The name would imply it, and frankly, the game style of these players supports it.
Refreshing that deep control. Man, it's a little bit morbid, but LAG can feel that foot, even through 5, right? Right here at the start of it, it's kind of a rough look. 50 seconds, and kind of immediately as this fades, though, there's always an underbelly to aggressive points like this. There is the kind of return on it. Gotta face aggressively after that smoke fades, and can't blame him for trying. It's just Consti tees off and gets a great double. Now LAG can open the door.
I am frankly shocked that Marquee is the one to fall before even Dare. It was a good maneuver in my opinion. It didn't really work out the way that they wanted to, obviously, and yeah, I think this round is just going to be chalked up to the fact that they needed one of those 2 players to find the fight, and everything going right from that end.
Perfect shots.
Everybody seeing success, and by the ends, no kills transpire in the favor of the defense. That is about as nice as it can be, and you feel the clock, as you mentioned, just under 50 seconds start to tick in time down to the point where they've got to make a decision. They've got to come to game time and reveal the play, but when they do, it doesn't really look like that they felt any sort of a pressure, and at this level, that's going to be the case. Going to be
one thing to definitely look forward to is that Consti op. Didn't really get that going yesterday, so that competition ensued, and with Slump having such a high rating, it's going to be absolutely prompted in the limelight so far. A lot of attention brought to the Brown Halls, and even with Slump to back up Marquee here, this is an aggressive play. Gonna see how far they actually stick their face right by this. Mason walking it up now.
Ooh.
Individual between Marquee and Shane. There's a flash, and it's actually Slump that luckily is there, has the back of his teammate within Pop, and Brown Hall's off limits right now for LAG.
Smoke out from Slump to try and disguise the fact that they ran away, but Marquee still sticks around. The Molotov actually, though, will burn at his toes. He tries to jiggle in. But that 1 kill really does make the world of a difference to where they don't really have to do a whole hell of a lot else for the time. 50 seconds again, where they thrived last time around. Lag, though, had more map control as well as a man up and more utility to throw out. And there's just so many players from getting info here. They're kind of ready to play for a retake towards A through this position if they need to. And Wolffe is playing a patient game, but One, I don't think will be what they're waiting on. They're going to be waiting on the next point to which this Ivy walkthrough, I mean, it has to be choreographed at some point. There's been no other players made known from getting info on the other sides of this map just yet. And Dare, I mean, he's held the line for just long enough. A multi can't be denied from him. And Wolffe's position, unfortunately, becomes redundant as Sandman, just the same, was waiting to make his entrance way. Now has to say goodbye to this round and hello to a lead now extended for getting info.
That's such an impressive round by getting info, especially even for what you noted, you know, setting up for if that was successful, you know, even if Dare got ran over there, if he got one kill, I mean, causing a distraction there would have just literally put so much strain on LAG to then have to plant the bomb, and then it's two guys likely swinging out of pop to kind of ruin the rest of the options. LAG got enough money to rev up right back again. I've had so many points thrown right back in their face, Tony. Through 6 so far, it's been a rough go about it at the beginning of this train.
I love Train. I like casting Train. Sometimes it gets a little bit stale, a little bit flat. I mean, especially in these last couple of rounds where they wear it down to the wire thanks to all the utility that stuffs them. But the rounds that are A, a little bit faster, and B, come down to a clutch or a retake scenario where high impact can be had from multi-fraggers. Superstars that string together shots. Through pop, they will find themselves in a horizontal line in where they'll create a wall of not only bodies but smokes, in which getting info aren't exactly ready to work around. And Snav, not hearing Mason on his trudge up, it was a pistol. He draws that distance, switches out to the rifle off of his opponent who he just collapsed in upon, and a double from Brett and Wolffe again. These two unite to bring them around, and these are a majority of the rounds that they've won, frankly, in that kind of fashion.
Chaotic through those smokes into the A site. I mean, committed to the pathing. You're exactly right. That's how Mason finds Snav back in the site. And LAG, I mean, when they're rolling confidently. And that is the ball that you want to see against the Getting Info squad that we warned against Burning Bright. And that's when they are going to be the scariest. So really just separating them. I mean, this is where you're on thin ice economically. Getting Info going to be sticking back into an aggressive play back towards upper. Slump this time at back 6, checking Ivy. He's gone.
Wolffe has honestly, truthfully, been forced to be a little bit more useless in this upper halls position many a time, but now's when you can see him start to be able to, you know, actually feel comfortable in cooking up a kill or two, a walk up, seeing as their man advantage is there, periodically jiggling back and forth, and they're aware of his arrival, but very patient in the deep ends of the spawn is Mason. He's going to be the trap card that's been set, and actually does get to deal with Shane on a tight angle. Both players will duel in, and he really reads that one to perfection. I like to see how patient he is and just sitting there, and you know, he's rewarded for, again, patience. That's been a virtue for not only him, but again, I guess the guy in your stream, Snav, I was talking about before, and that's maybe something that a couple other players could also use.
Marky trying to find a good line after literally a trip rope right in front of Z. Knocks over 2 of his teammates. Snav up top as well. It may be boxed in shortly now. Getting Info can do it with less. A couple of Deagles and a Scout to get their first round on this train, we remember. Mason could serve up another one. Got Marky around that corner. Snav has been caught. Marky, you are surrounded. Oh, he is not afraid of the cuffs. That's why Wolffe is not taking you alive. It's 4-4 for LAG. And now they are looking good all the way to go. Should have a lead doctored up, looking up against USBs.
This is one of the most, you know, free-flowing rounds that Lag are going to get for a while. I love their nade setups where they kind of condition Molotovs usually with smokes in front of them in order to take away vision, but other rounds they'll use the double HE on the position instead. And it's worked, you know, pretty well in order to force the hand of getting info on their rifle rounds. I think back to when Marky and Slump had to walk all the way up through those back halls in order to do anything about that. Slump hits his shot and it looks good. And Consti, I know, although it looks a little sloppy, that's actually about as controlled as you can possibly be in a scenario like that. Where losing the off
I was
and the
about to
third
say.
body gets crazy. Yeah. So.
Right, if you're at home wondering how to exactly control that Tech 9 spam, Consti just gave you 101. That's going to be
Doesn't get
pretty
much
great
better.
work for him. And it's a pretty great, I mean, measured front from where LAG were yesterday. I know blowout games aren't like a good metric for that. Consti kind of went crazy on that Anubis, but, you know, when they're winning rounds, it's everybody getting active. I think that's what I'm trying to say right here. Brett's going to be seeing out of this quite quickly. All the way out to Olaf. Didn't exactly escape that nade, but they should be aware of this considering the far drop smoked.
Dare losing his teammate on the back ends of that same train they play off. And yeah, you say it. He just pulls right off. They were already trying to go towards B. It was Brett using that smoke in space just to maybe get one kill as he has and then let the rest of his team actually show their hand. It was a pop and play, but Marky's Cold Ivy is clean. Brett obviously not having rotated out and back in towards that upper hole maybe actually helps out. It keeps players here. And Dare, he might get shot in the side. Sandman's got a massive timing if he were to take it, but Dare then just realizing that that window may have opened, looks to close it just so slightly in a smoke to do so. And they B-stacked. Oh, no. There's 50 seconds left. Lag need to do something, and they need to do it together. I don't think they have much lurk potential left, Mark. If they walk into the belly of the beast, they're going to get eaten. They're going to get swallowed.
Yeah, but they go away. They're facing off against players that potentially are, you know, dealing with rotations, but dealing with no utility. Everything is on Snab and Slump rightfully within that site. Shane and Slump back to back. But even this A part is taking too long of a press. Here goes another smoke. That's all the utility dropped that's going to be able to try and prove something. 23 seconds left, and they are crawling out where this is screaming an obvious grab. And Dare, if he can potentially get this going, Sandman, he forms a line of scrimmage now right in front of Z with this Molotov.
10 seconds.
And they shut it out, but it's 12 seconds, Tony, and he's literally spamming, trying to get this down. This is not a secure plant for Wolffe. He is going to be so exposed, but they almost get him down. It's a spam that is teased.
Marky is going to be so upset watching this VOD back to see if he had just held down Mouse 1, he would have found the kill on the bomb planter, but Slump will find him post the fact, and Sandman flashed in, but on the wall, Shane was waiting. Brett clotheslines another, and from that same space in which Marky was made known before, needs Shane to get into the action, and unfortunately, Shane does exactly that, but what was he to do when Consti was posted on his arrival, on his entry point, his only way back, and Brett is surgical right now, man. The beginning, the middle, and the end delivered to them by the IGL, who takes up the tops of the board. Him and Snap.
Going back and forth, and immediately, I mean, you can take that to another level poetically. That opening kill was against Snav, right? That entire round from the root on that. Great plays from Brett right there. You highlight with the 3K and LAG. That's probably the first round that it really hasn't been, you know, right down, hammered to the table, punishing them and getting them all the way out. That time it's, you know, really getting info that work harder in the mid round. Try and find out exactly where they are, but, you know, keeping themselves on that line, calm with even 10 seconds to go. They finish on the A site there, and with 6 rounds, LAG are cooking on this T side.
Yeah, they sure are. 5-7s and MP9. Still, making this awkward, though. Both Mason and now Wolffe have taken damage, been finished off, and the speed in which Dare walks them through is problems, and we've seen Marky find, in fact, with this Deagle before when given, you know, a little bit of chaos. He seems to rise above and rise against, and he's going to have to here. He's been discovered.
Fished out finally. Sandman finding the important kills, reading between the lines, and into hell digs him out. Bomb plant that should be good, but Dare and Shane, I don't think there's a world where they don't attempt this, especially with Shane's positioning and how he just operates on the clock. Smoke faded now.
Though.
And with their measured risk, Tony, that Molotov can at least try and trick them through. Dare, head turn, and now committed to the play. Has just fished him out back sight, but now he's lost his help. This is nearly impossible for Dare now. Back to back with no kit. He may have wished he held on to the gun now. He's going to be sprinting away where LAG is the last laugh for 7 rounds in the first half.
Does he survive? I think he does. 1 HP. Oh my lord. As tight as it will get, and they didn't need that gun, but it'll definitely help just having that one for the hands of, say, Snav or Shane. As far as getting utility dropped over, I think Dare is probably going to have to drop a gun, I would imagine, no? No, actually, it's all good. All's well that ends well. AK-47, a potent weapon to have on the defensive, but here it is, that window I was talking about where Lag and the map pool have a bit of history in being able to take these games close or over the line. Train is one of those, one of the most, if not the most consistent against this head-to-head in particular.
Train blows immediately, but it's Consti that's living here to keep dictating in the last round of the first half. Slump took it aggressively up top. And with Shane giving it the respect, getting info, are familiar with the feeling of a committed B rotation that was then slumped back. This looks for real. Molotov goes all the way out to Z, and Consti next to Sandman trying to find the space. It's up to Wolffe right now to actually make this legitimate, up with a little bit of space to grab, trying to prompt himself up with a bit of a flash maneuver. This has actually opened the door for Consti to get right in, and just sprinting in. You know there's an op on the other side. They're ignoring that fact. But right now, Wolffe lying in the cut between three members of Getting Info. There's just too much to do here, Tony. It may be impossible for the leader of the pack.
Might be. Seen him do some miraculous work before, but yeah, Wolffe unfortunately can't rise against. It's Lag who lead the half, but it's one back before we turn it over, and in just a few we'll see whether or not this game is done.
LAG came out spitting to that first pistol. Absolutely got out on that A site. and left the rest for the business later. This is, with all of the weight on it, getting info, trying to go into that second half swinging. What does Snav have ready for us, Tone?
I'm not entirely sure, but I know that Mason's got his gun ready, locked and loaded. A dual Beretta yet to be spotted, playing a late game, and in spoiler, but it's Brett who plays deeper beyond, and he also was extraordinarily influential in many of those rounds you speak of. It's Shane, it's Snav, two players with chemistry enough to have won 2v3s in prior, but now this may be one of the most important that they've got in recent history. It's ESL Pro League we're looking to qualify for here, guys, and close enough, but Brett wants it a little bit more. He's teething, foaming at the mouth, but Shane, at least now with a minute and 15.
And trying to thread the needle is Wolffe right now. Shane aware of something, just not adding up here, having to go all the way around. Wolffe finally threads it all the way down, and Sandman just has to stay alive. LAG shooting 100% of the line for those pistol rounds today. This is Train looking to go their way. Have a little bit of momentum streaking into the second half.
Now I just have a couple of different thoughts on what getting info may have to do with their first rifle round. I mean, you know, budgeting here, obviously, to get the AK-47s out in hand, it's not going to be a question of the AWP. It's not possible. And an off angle for Sandman, just a sliver of his body being seen, just for information once that peak is to come through. And he gets it. But back to my initial point is, what the speed, what the pace of that next push will have to be looking like, Mark. I mean, I think the flashbang smokes and Molotovs will almost force them into one of the two sites relatively soon as far as that round is concerned, but I would be definitely interested to see them just run it through. It's not an easy thing to do, but maybe one of their only options.
Ball in the court of Snav now. Some of the first times he is back with the trio he spent over 6 years with. Should be a familiar feeling to get this thing turned around, especially with the way Marky is playing. Patient on those stairs, ready to get this down lower. Go ahead with Marky here. I want to see him reach out with a couple of these legal plays.
Oh.
And, yeah, man. Caster cursed into non-existence, and same thing happens on this lower ramp. Sprayed all the way down, terminated up top. No casualties for LAG. Now that's a scary sign.
I do agree. A little bit of a... it's not really a bonus round. We had this conversation on broadcast the other day, me and Paladin. Where people kind of don't know what bonus round means. This isn't a bonus round because if they lose lag and they don't save a FAMAS and get a bunch of kills on the SMGs, they can't afford to go in for a full buy that's as competitive as it would otherwise have been. So it's only a bonus round if that is the case. So same economic situation could befall on them if getting info make this one look nice and even. And as stated before, this buy was always going to be a little lesser on utility, a little lesser on weaponry. Both players paying attention, but nobody looking down low. It's a walk-in from Mason, a double down though, as it's the aggression from the upper halls that's met with just the same response, but still softened or Darren Slump.
Yeah, so low right now. And it's likely going to be taking another multi-kill out of Brett right here, who's so far into T-Con. Walking Wolffe back to the A site, and look at this. It's getting info who are going to actually gamble out towards Ivy. Consti with open arms and actually plenty of nades. Love this setup right here.
Do you?
Has a little bit of a help in the pocket, especially with Wolffe so close. There goes that contact, and now it's trying to see how far they're going to push it. They're aware of this, more fishy than they will realize. And Dare, low HP. This could be a potential grab here, but it's nothing else out. And so with a clear path and a decision to be made, where is Brett? Where has he gone? Is it that clear to just continue this walking to the B side? Snap and Slump were just on that train of thought, but now they've got to be going A. Snav can't go and run back to B right here, but with Brett's position exposed, they just have to find the kill. Now Snav jumping to the back of the site, Dare gone down, Snav is holding this plant, getting info. They see into the far fray, but they survive, and with slumps casualties right alongside, it's starting to add up here.
All right. Okay. Now that's the string you can pull along, try to thread. Gun on the ground, I can only assume for Wolffe, who has been lobbed over the MP9. Marky playing with a Desert Eagle only. That's interesting. A MAC-10 was a portable. There was a world. Could have got that if you really wanted. But we have, like I said, seen a couple of shots out from Marky with that Desert Eagle in general. So, you know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll give it to him.
And also, you can check back in on exactly what you were speaking on before. Not enough money even, you know, with the loss bonus, checking this out.
Yeah.
For this to be so comfortable. Reaching for one kit on Brett. With a lot here in front of A. Normally, we've seen a member of LAG, like, literally pushed up to the maximum limit in T-Con. Or right here, maybe you would be loving a little bit of information like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to go on B with no nades. Wolffe and Mason got to hit the shots.
Bink!
Oh my goodness!
See you later. I mean, that's Marky's contribution already made. Doesn't need to do much more. Snav responsible for the sidewalk now, as Wolffe does get closer and forced up by the Molotov.
Oh!
Expended, though, are the numbers around, but Brett actually killed by Marky even at the end, trying as quickly as he can to come to the aid of his precious planter. And wow, all right, what a round!
What a wonky round! Yeah.
What a round!
Oh my gosh!
That's a good one, a good feel one for getting info, despite it coming down to only 2. I have to assume, though, a handicapped Marky still comes out with a multi.
Constantly gonna be feeling a little bit tilted after that one. Even with spoiling feeling going down his spine, not much time to think about it. Yeah, no kidding. Running this out, it's an average scene. I'm not sure we're gonna get much more out of that upgraded pistol. Wolffe goes down, and this round gonna be quickly flushed.
Marky might even have his chance to catch him again in a second or two here. That'd be a cruel twist of fate, but I think it's all good. There, I mean, still a round up, still a buyback. They were waiting for. This one was always going to be a toss over. And now, again, closing a lot of these opening pools. Importantly, getting info, being on top of them. This first will be the most important spearheaded kill, I feel like, for quite some time, because it's the difference between lag hitting double digits and getting info at 9-all.
Constantly pulling out that AUG. Now we're getting real, Tony. We saw that briefly pulled yesterday, even for a multitude of AUGs being bantered together. LAG, need anything right now. Seen into a kind of a slower scene. Snav maintaining control of it. Headed back towards Ivy for a quick check. They should be expecting Sandman to shoulder here. This is where Marky saw it before, and they're not going to leave him alone. It's a Molotov that's going to buy them a whole hell of a lot of respect, but a smoke in front of that refreshes the positioning out of Snav is just insane, and he gets caught by Brett, thankfully. That could have gone on a dime either way for LAG.
Very quiet. The sound of that smoke is all that you'll hear. As it fades, there's so much that lies on the other side, but I mean, Brett's been the man to handle. He's been the one to give them that semblance of hope. And already, having dealt with Snav, the head-to-head of the Captain v Captain, Mason may just get the drop on Marky. He's got a teammate walking up just behind him, even if he were to fall, and now it's all in. You got to show your cards. There's no more as they've pushed their chips to the center of the table. Getting info, a smoke over towards Pop will be good, but have they already superseded it? Yes, they have.
Mason, it's another stealing feeling right here, and he's going to get a third in the round. Dare acrobatic off the top of the ladder, but falling down on his back. It's LAG that are really in control now. Double digits that they have on this CT side, and it's going to be a desperate feeling here. Money all across the board for getting info. Got slumped some hardware. All Marky needs is a deagle, right? Yep.
I mean, clearly. Brody is ready for that action. AWP has not been the craziest of talking points for either of these two teams right now. They've both been playing in these rounds as an impactful measure, but now would be the time, if ever, to hear a couple of shots ring true, put together in succession, one after another, as opposed to just peppering in damage here and there. A kill across a beat. And that smoke, it's the only thing between Slump and some numbers that are very much so aware that nothing happening on these extremities means that there very well may be a play on this end. And oh no, just again, a split-second timing to where if Slump was playing the angle that he was initially, he wouldn't have been blinded by the flash. He would have cut the player onto the cross, or at least been given a shot at a shot.
Three players ready to operate in within this A site, but when there is this patient feeling, you're sitting behind these smokes ready to go ahead and shoot. You gotta be perfect, and it is just so clean. It is amazing, backed up by Sandman and Consti, and there's not even a second thought of it. Shut down any effort for getting info there on the A site is swept away.
To 8. First time that getting info have been so down in the dumps on the offensive to this extent. And they're playing up against them. They are obviously aware of map point upon them. So trying to bargain for every single cent they got. And Brett's just unrelenting in his walks in T-Con. This time dropping a smoke and then waltzing through it, as if it were a wall, thinks Shane, or excuse me, Slump again. Lord. Somebody.
Not Dia.
No.
I wonder what the story is. See where Dia might be off to. He's too talented to not be on a team. These Glocks ready to go out lower. On their own time. It seems like that time is close to now. They're all bottled up, ready to go. Oh, all right. We're going back, Tony. Not quite satisfied with the timing presented. They're going to do it. They might have told you it right.
No, I do agree with that.
Do it 100%. All right. 100% clear vision for Wolffe now, and no bomb plant for you. Snap trying to tee off, and that all keeps farming him up, man. Reminds me of Nyx on Complexity.
Another North American player, of course.
The first guy that took it out on that train on CS2, I swear. Ever.
Wow,
definitely in North America, within the 50 states we got over here. Canadians, too. Don't have to go so far as to get that Mexican representation with Marky.
Yeah. But this could be the last. This could be it.
Could be.
And they're leaving Snap a lot of responsibility.
Oh, goodness.
But an elevated Brett, again, just takes so many different challenges. And this time going through after the first fight. Oh, he's just reamed.
This is disgusting.
He needs his teammate to stay alive, though.
He needs Wolffe to stay alive here. It's dirty onto that first spray, but there's been so much dealt to Dare right now. Shane and Dare, all with it to do, and potentially with the issue of lining up bomb in the back of Shane, and now it is all separated. Wolffe down to a 1v1. Dare, the player that replaced him
Holy.
over on the Blue Jays. He gets that last laugh right here on the train in the EPL qualification. It is LAG that go up 1-0 against Getting Info.
That's a very, very nice beginning, as you can feel that lag were a little bit cooling off at the ends there. Well, I mean, that last map of train, it's been quite a while, it feels like. Ancient history, some would even go as far as to say. No one's ever made that joke on broadcast, I'm sure.
Now they just have. We're ready to go. We'll see it. Honestly, a couple of new things we're to fly over. Now, victorious on this Ancient. Mason had a couple of great pistol shots already going down. He was chasing them at E-Box right now, trying to chase him down at the pillar. Away from the Wolf, they've avoided their fate. Trying to take the back end of square now, flashing for that information. They're getting a ton of it. It's got to be through cave, through the ramp right now, as contact is made by Consti. And now Sandman with the P2K having to hit some impressive shots. I'm not even sure he got active in the CT pistol round, was just a player that had to live for the distraction.
No.
But a long life that has now been ended for him, Tony, and Consti against the world.
Nav waited for so long in that corner, and Sandman waited for so long for him to expose himself. Good God. Another moment where our patience pays. Another moment we're getting info, though. Get a pretty big round and need to continue to convert and get the ball rolling now on the offensive of Ancient. Their offensive on Train was actually starting to look pretty good. If they were given a little more breathing room, given the 7-5 that it concluded on the defense, then maybe there would have been more of a talking point. But at bare minimum, they're playing up against what could very well be them walking it over the line and catching these players with just a pair of SMGs. Scattered are the 5-7 and Deagle combinations. And Marky can pull that off, maybe. But will they be able to do the same?
Consti,
Since Marky died twice with only one round? That's crazy. Poor Marky.
Hard knock life.
It might be assists, actually. He's died none at all. Yeah, it was assists. I'm an idiot.
Helping the team out. Don't say that. Don't say that. There's already enough negative vibes in NA, Tony. We got to lift each other up, man.
Okay.
You're so good at casting.
Thanks, bro. This ramp pop's been waiting quite some time to see if anybody will give them an inch, give them an opening, a visual onto what the setup may be, and unfortunately for them, it is quite possibly the worst setup that they could have run into, but as a matter of fact, the weapon advantage is just that little bit better. Using Shane's distanced AK-47, they've been able to crack down, and problematic are the positions of the last two, because Wolffe is just sitting inside of the smoke. As soon as the fade, he's going to be out in the middle of nowhere.
See you later, man. And it can get worse for LAG in these first two. They decide to go for the Forest. They are completely wiped off the page.
Off the planet. Bing.
Here of Ancient. And a flying Marky will get you down. This is Getting Info, who have rightfully been provoked by that first map, swinging and not taking any prisoners.
Goes the SMG of Marky over towards that B site with the bomb carrier. The all-in effort basically ensures a 3-0 start for Getting Info to start to get the ball rolling, to start to get themselves feeling pretty good.
Oh my God.
Catastrophic nades on a Consti, lucky to get away. Sees his life flash before his eyes, crippled for the remainder of this round.
That's a brutal look. A tactical new kid's house. Getting Info watching it bottom in the ramp. Shane got the worst of it of the previous go-round. Potentially could see a little bit back maybe chimerically here. They decide to send it down the ramp, which Brett is looking to prompt up, potentially. Getting info or no rush.
They handled that with grace last round, the ability to take things a little bit slower. And this time it looks, about as good. I mean, again, double kills. Now, low on HP are a couple of them, but not really the biggest of deals when they're just getting shut down, and including the player onto the flank, dealing his due diligence to clear out anybody on a little bit of a laggy rotation, no pun intended. But it is there, so.
Sure it is, buddy.
Consti's up. I mean, when you lose 3 rounds like that, when you budget in the way that they have, when you go for the force and knowing that you'll save again, you're always going to be given that opportunity. So now better than ever will it be for Consti to have some semblance of a say against what's been an awfulest best of 3, it would feel.
Especially coming out of train, this is a weird feeling for it. The Slump had some good marks. Honestly, few and far between, but
4 op kills for Consti in that last map, and he was the one who had the most op kills in that map. Oh,
quite an awkward opening. Mason up top has the back right down. Sandman's life not in vain. Brett on another strenuous spray. He actually gets taken down, and it's getting info walking limp right now. And with Dare at the highest HP, he has been just blown to bits by the AWP. Mason can't exactly get the forehead of Marky gone, so Marky and Slump will be allotted a few more acres.
I like that, acres.
Yeah, European viewers are watching, wondering, what the hell is this guy talking about?
What the hell is a kilometer? Yeah, Slump had 3 op kills in that last map after I was just doing my research. So 3 for him, 4 for Consti, and overall pretty low scoring off game, but Consti already getting himself a double, already getting into the action, making himself known, making himself heard. First over towards red, and then all the way a loop to the bottom side of the ramp, not ready for his position, not ready for his big green to ring past the years of Slump and see his teammate fall against. He's only on 8 HP. I mean, he's just trying to get lucky at this stage, but luck will have nothing to do with it. He's going to have to hit shots, and with 20 seconds remaining, the AK can still be lethal, and Mason needed to tear his dome clean off because a second of delay, and he might have been the dead man, but again, all's well that ends well. They're on the board.
Continues to walk between Mason and Consti, a full house, a great look between 2 very active working members of this LAG defense.
Getting active.
And I think it's going to be really a point to continue to see where all over the board Consti is going to have to remain quite active on this AWP. He's really going to kind of have a voice everywhere. Mason got the hops now. He's got the lay to get on it. Has a bit of pathing for an opening kill. And on the other end, Marky is catching him and absolutely snapping him. This is the B site wide open now, and Mason is going to have to move in, but with 3 HP, he's barely breathing.
That was absurd. What a display from Marky. And continuing onwards into the site onto the player who was dealing them the most issues earlier on. Goodbye, Mason, and hello to a freebie walking towards spawn where Consti's off his hell. There's a smoke without a gap, and Shane, he's been dispatched of, but Brett needs to do a little more than that. Gosh. And knowing now that he's caught at this pillar, needs to call through Consti from the spawn, needs him to get on to Dare, who's now made known the center pillar. This consulate is going to be a beautiful mark for Brett to just play around whilst Consti posts. And that is yet another round in which Brett finds himself as the centerpiece to unfold. And frankly, obviously hasn't happened a lot on this map, but he was beautifully maneuvering around on train.
Credit to Brett, credit to Mason, and credit to LAG, who hold on that B site after all is lost, recovering in the end. The reason that I bring up that Mason got the hops is because he actually does. He was actually quite a goated high school basketball player. And that was like his thing. And then really kind of later in high school, he told me like got into Counter-Strike and really was kind of focused on other things for, you know, much of his childhood. So not really like the classical story. I feel like we've all been gaming since like
his brother didn't put him on.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was a part of the mix, but
oh really?
Man, Mason could be in the NBA right now. Who knows? It's a professional of some kind.
So you're saying that video game addiction ruined this young man's chances at making a long and fruitful career in the NBA?
Probably, man. He told me he would like go to his high school gym early in the morning and put up shots like Kobe Bryant. I'm like, who is this guy?
Okay.
I'm not even joking.
One flash to be set up with
grinder.
one smoke, and eventually they're going to continue to chain them after they've gotten the room to work. Sandman and Wolffe will ensure that there's no more room to work, that there's no acres, as you would put it, for them to actually invest upon. As Marky, his pistols have been pretty impressive, but this one a bit too much and a bit too late to the game, as 3-all is going to be a wonderful feeling for Lag, having gone down to that 0 mark against the 3 moments before, to where once Consti's op was put into the mix, he's always gotten his kill per round. This is the first that he hasn't, but not needed when all kills are split between the two top players of the board, Wolffe and Sandman. They pull it together and they pull apart, getting info, and leave them with a little bit of a scrappy bye, to say the least. Putting it lightly.
I mean, really almost exactly how we started Train, right? Right back and forth with kind of LAG, bringing this slow burn back in the direction, but, I mean, with it also, classically, I mean, Ball's been in the court of Snap. He's really been having to work a whole lot. I mean, with familiar feelings, but here with constant pressure being put back by Brett, that is, I mean, really kind of riding off the energy, I feel like, from that first map. It was quite a good set that they put down on that Train, but feels like getting info of a lot of control into the beginning of round 7, just getting out and taking a good look at middle here. Marky's still a thorn in the side, though.
He wants to see somebody. Sees out Brett's space.
They're intimidated by him.
Re-smoked. Yeah, I would be. Consti, though, player high, player low, sees the shadow, and he's baited by it. Shane, on the bottom ends, will never have been seen by Mason. As a matter of fact, he'll never be seen by Mason at all. As that smoke ensures that the smoke will, on the other end, soon fade in towards mid, which Brett pulls back off the site and makes it a monstrous affair in which he may go down. Mason will activate, and everybody has pivoted off the back of it. A 1 versus 2 in the blink of an eye. You miss it, the action ever fast, and it doesn't slow down as Marky has one more to find in knowing Sandman was here at red before. A 40-second mark and a bomb to recover.
Hugely impactful yesterday. Sandman has to find the biggest round for LAG so far, separated from the bomb now, giving Marky a ton of room to work with. The smoke to sort of suggest that fate, but with so many calls on the plate for Marky, which does he dot up? It's a simple crawl towards this A site with the smoke on his back, but with 14 to go, this is going to have to be a shocking move for it. Quickly on it, swiftly for the plant, Tony, setting up shop.
Now, so many different places to question right now if you are Marky. I mean, he could have been anywhere at this stage, but the smoke at least giving him the room to walk into Donut and not worry about his side. And now, eventually, having seen nothing there, hearing the stick onto the bomb, not a tap. He's not aiming in the right space. He's not even going to start his spray.
What?
But even so, Marky's going to find him. He will rein it in, and 1 bullet is all that will have been needed. And frankly, it had to be the headshot. Nails it, and nails them down a 4th. What a crazy round.
With everything that just got on the mic, it's a perfect time. This is a timeout that we'll point out that is called by Semphis & Co. over here on Getting Info, where, I mean, it's going to have to be a hell of a word from Ario back for the LAG team. That was a round that was chaotic. Kills like that from Brett, and then immediately with Sandman coming to get that trade, you feel like you've won the round. You feel like you deserve to win the round. But deserve got nothing to do with it, with Marky's on the other side, serving him up just like that. 7-3 is doing a ton for Getting Info this afternoon.
Great stuff. And you said that they were afraid of him at the start of that round, Marky. Well, if that wasn't true before, then it certainly is now. The boogeyman unleashes from out the depths, the bottom of mid, and in through the smoke. Looms your worst nightmare. A lead that is now theirs, a bye that is now back from Lag. So at least they don't have to tuck their tail and try to hide away and stow for what will be a good amount of time to recover even further kills. Is actually bypassing Wolffe, but into the den of Sandman as he thought he had a timing, and so too did I.
This is a call they have been waiting to go ahead and grasp with both hands right now. It's Getting Info. They're going to try and find an element of surprise out here against LAG. Constantly, you got to hit the difficult shots, and so damn close to doubling up onto Dare, but that could have been a make or break point in the round. This is a 3 versus 4 here, and softened up our LAG with a point at which to consider going for this retake or not.
Think somebody's going to need to find a kill pretty quick, and then if they die,
Okay.
then that's going to be them just spiraled onto the save in full, and Slump would be a good start, but that's got to be it, I think. The flashbang will go wider off Temple side, but Slump's ready for you to try and change elevations amidst the air. Good luck even being able to manage a spray. Well held, double-digit kills for him. He saw Consti started to heat up, and he said, well, I guess it's my turn now. And this round is a distant memory, really. There's nothing in this next one to come from lag either. This is looking really good from what was, again, an early round beginning that looked great. A bit of a hiatus, but right back to form with Marky's clutch.
Getting info got time for an Anubis, man. I can do this all day. Put them on those pistols. Sitting them right down, Tony. I mean, Slump the slasher right there was going insane in the backhaul. That rating yesterday is, I think, shown in a good flash there. I mean, talk about potential. You want an opera in North America. Slump has been a guy that has obviously been speculated about. And, I mean, with getting big ratings in important tournaments and continuing to get that experience, the young member gets a 10-4 scoreline here and looks great.
Slump going stupid right now. You got it.
Yes, sir.
And another one to walk up through elbow in a moment. It's going to have to hope to get a timing on it. Not the weapon for a distance. Not a Deeg, just a measly P2K.
Tony, if you'll recall, we actually casted the Slump birth, practically. The welcome Slump to the big leagues moment, where versus Vibe. All right, hold on. I'm trying to yap during the eco round. Don't put this in a serious spot. It shouldn't be there. We'll resume on that in a moment, because I don't think it would be fair to Sandman to not give this a good threat. Marky's going to attempt to put this bomb down. All comes down to the timing here. Marky to hop off the bomb in a perfect position to find any lying bug. He absolutely squashes Sandman. And so what I was referring to was, it was CCT Season 2, Series 1, or Series 2, something of the matter. Final
really
Form
long
versus
time ago,
Vibe.
I think.
Literally a year ago, last summer, it was a Dust 2, which was the Map 2 versus Final Form and Vibe. It was an 0-2, like, elimination match. And, dude, Slump was doing it sideways. He was, like, bunny hopping up Cat, dropping 130 ADR on major winners. It was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I remember that, actually. Pretty vividly, I even remember. It wasn't even, like, one of the craziest teams. It was, like, that Final Form roster that's now, different core that I think is also playing in this same tournament that I don't remember. It might be anything else, but seeing Slump against his old IGL, one sharper than the other in that instance, and it's the dink and follow-up from Brett where a leg is not going to cut it. And now that leaves them with having to continue onwards in their trajectory towards this A site on the mid-split, but without one of their key opponents, unless they'd like to send a message over to the opposite ends of the map with 1:10 with time enough to do it. Reasonable, but needs to be effective in order to make this round one that can actually be dreamed up, because they're just hunkering down right now, lag.
Trying to clean out into Donut a bit further. Holding on to it with exactly what has already been giving up. Dare gonna be screaming in the VC now. The space that I've gotten on B is too good to not give a good grasp, and now they're gonna be sprinting here with this smoke, with this space, with that frag. It is going to be a fool's errand on that B site. The gold on A and the bomb down.
A walk back from Sandman towards A main. He's going to be the one that they look bring in on that timing, on that timer, though Marky's internal has started to beep. Turns his attention into that direction and leaves a much easier job for his two teammates in Donut there, because they know that they've got to go for a fight somewhere. They know they've got to fight for the flush, and the last time that they attempted to stick him into the smoke wasn't really the best of scenarios, and Marky will fall. It will be an AK for Brett, but Consti, if he would have wanted to do anything about that round, if he did want to go for a stick, he would have needed a kit. So without that, it really just spells doom and gloom, as the 7th is there and getting info very desperately want to send us even further beyond, and Shane might go into the further beyond as well, but that's okay. Not a big deal.
Another brick in the wall for getting info at this point, the way they're rolling. Want to put up that 9-3 and stamp it on the forehead of LAG, where they're playing. Got a bold buyback. But I mean, on every press, it's been vicious from getting info, pulling on each leg. On A, it's been quite a bargain for them, and that's something that has opened up a couple of these playbook pages these last couple of rounds. So far, is Dare out into middle, and again, getting info. Been fearless at this point of the map, and that has served them so much success.
Not sure where to move right now. If you are Wolffe, your teammates are doing the moving for you. Through A main, and Brett trying to do something to alleviate any pressure. That Molotov, if it is to spread, he's a dead man walking, and Marky's just trying to pre-fire around that, even inside of the Molotov, and Dare's got his shoulder covered. Good by Consti. Clear. A shocking turn of events. Losing that man one makes everybody else all the more pressured, and Amali right on top of where Mason looked to re-entry, to a point where a smoke was on the other side just as well. It was layers. And at this point, it's just swing, fight, live and die, and getting info usually on the living end of that. It does not let up, Mark.
This is the biggest deficit that LAG have been in, and literally any point in the qualifying game so far, they've literally had one other series in this, so it's, you know, not saying too much. But even having some words with Mason after the game yesterday, I know that they were feeling really good about it. How they were playing through, how these moves had gone on for multiple months, obviously. Spraying down, getting it into a squeaky clean kill right at the end. Mason does survive, just right next to the bell. It's a good line for him, but they've got to be ringing for 4 right here. That much I know.
Pretty close game as far as everybody's concerned from team-to-team basis. As far as, you know, Marky, Slump, and Shane all doing as best they can, where it feels the players on lag are evenly distributed in terms of their kills, but someone needs to step up and beyond, as Brett was doing it before. Mason in this game was doing as best as he can, but cooled off, and Constantly without off has not yet been seen at the same level of efficacy, and the same cannot be said for Slump, who turns on a dime and finds Mason just as well, and both players attempting to pincer him will have to try and wake up a little earlier next time around, because getting info are on, and the lights are shut out for lag, but not entirely. They have a chance to turn them back on in the second half of the second map. Stay tuned.
If all they've been saying is true, is a war before your eyes. Tell me, can you see right through? Right through, right through. Down through the wires and the pipeline. We go disconnecting from the city and the skyline. This is the numbers again. The fights, the fear, the fear. This is the numbers again. As he turns it, nice headshot.
Well, if 9-3 the scoreline doesn't tell you, I will. It's a dominating first half. They're getting info put all the way out in front of LAG. And I don't think their plans are changing. You better have time at home to watch a third map. It seems like Anubis is inevitable.
Yeah, guys, I hope you bargained for a day of CS because it looks
Put
like
another
we're
pot of
going to be
coffee on.
getting one, huh?
Put a pot of coffee on, pal. Tea? Whatever your
Dr. Pep. That Dr.
fancy
Pep?
is. Hey, man, that'll get you right.
That's that Dr. Pep. Molotov on
Snav,
Brett. That's it?
waiting
That's
for his
interesting.
patience. And already getting hit up for it. May need to use it soon, as they would like to get into B site, lock down a post plant, and likely cut him out of the equation back here. This is interesting, with LAG getting so lightly and that far into cave, they can make the contact and already consider turning this thing around. That's what the Molotov is really for. It's to lock out CT. But are you going to be ready for Marky here? This guy standing in the shadow is absolutely going to see him with the scythe if he does peek, but he's waiting for the rest of getting info to arrive.
Mason waited forever for everybody to leave and vacate that B site, but will it have been too long? Because there are players who are kind of just exposed all over the site. Brett and Wolffe, both of them actually leaving themselves extraordinarily susceptible to a duel in which Sandman needs to take. The bomb has been smoked, it's been covered, and they're turning around because where else could he be? Mason may get a kill or two, but it's not nearly enough to give me any sort of an inspiration as to the pistol round play from LAG.
Out of steam, ball in the court of Brett now, and it's not even inflated. I mean, maybe with one little bomb plan here, it's going to trickle a couple of dollars back in your pocket, but I feel like we're already kind of out of this to go. This is a done map feeling, Tony. I really would like to see that, you know, I feel like it was really impressive for at the points where LAG started to turn around. That first half of the training was in big moments, and, you know, that takes a lot of energy to be able to bring out very labored spray by Mason on that Galil. Never an easy measure, but an opening kill nonetheless.
Re-smoked right up in Wolff's face, but he'll, you know, he'll be okay with that for the most part, I can only imagine. Should it mean that they can just continue to work forwards as they please with that man advantage? This round hinging on those two fully automatic rifles that are set. Need to be turrets, and that's putting it lightly. Everybody's stationed up in this B-bomb site. Everybody's awaiting their waltz in. So, no reason to be going over towards A and just, you know, trying to throw your body on the line for if that execution were to come through. I mean, it's a very, very reasonable gamble stack, if any map, but now just playing off each other's contact and snap, even then waiting to spring into action. But Dare's rifle, as mentioned, the turret stands his ground, plants his feet, and mows down 3.
7 rounds, excuse me, 2 rounds, 7 frags for Dare, getting that around. Tier is 11 is quite a statement that is already written in permanent ink. You spoke of it before. I mean, you know, along with Snav doctoring up quite a great first half calling wise, it's been almost every single individual left on the board for getting info to have a time in the limelight. Those 2 rounds, but Dare neck and neck with Slump's output. Fast A, they're going to be the least surprising, speaking of the devil, we're back to Slump, and he's going to likely connect. He does, and, I mean, practically did the details towards Consti. They could even see in Consti getting every spam around the world right now.
Just chilling against this wall, hoping his teammate can get something done on his front. No, a bomb plant, 1 kill, and now left with it all to do on the climb back to what'll have to be OT. Mark, 9 rounds to go for it. Feeling no pressure right now, getting info, have to just be smiling from cheek to cheek, ear to ear, at the fact that they really don't have to do a whole hell of a lot to get the, I was gonna say trophy, but no, it's not the trophy in the win. It's only a chance at closing the series in a 3rd map as we reset once more. And that Anubis is one where if you are a fan of both of these teams, you would know that there's some potential on that one, Mark. Potential for greatness. Flash off the wall in mid to try and go back out. A self-engagement from Dare, looking to set himself up in order to make something happen, but Snab will do that before he eats. And next peek from the top side of shelf, in which dealt with Wolffe continuing to lose bodies from his teammates that surround him, though, and nothing seeming stabilized. And speaking of unstabilized, is the movement from Consti, refusing to strafe and refusing to stand still, is too inaccurate, wildly so.
Now getting info, got their entry fragger active. Dare will be up head-to-head next to Slump for the highest rated player out of the first map. Brett and Wolffe, see if they can actually send this Ancient to around 17. Putting themselves in best-of-1 territory, facing into Ancient right at the end of the series. Not sure Brett was close enough to hear the scope in by Slump, but where else could this last link of A have gotten off onto, seen an ankle and just tore it off? Brett on that other side, and a 1v3 now. Was awfully potent on map number 1, but you're going to need something stronger. Getting info, roll, and smoke LAG on that map number 2, and we're going to Anubis to finish this thing out.
That was an insane display from the likes of particularly Slump and Marky, man. I mean, everybody was playing well. Everybody was fine enough. I mean, clearly by the score. All right, guys. Map 3. Keeping it going. The series has been an exciting one. It's been one of many different twists and turns. Both teams getting their map, though. Ancient going a little bit more heavily into the favor of getting info than not. Leaving this 3rd of Anubis as the final. A flashbang to go in towards A main, perhaps and in through this smoke in which Wolffe has waited ever so patiently for and blinded his Dare. His teammate not so much. He's going to peep out and try and get a couple of frags, and just on the pop shots he's been able to find, leaves Shane with so much more room to move, and obviously being pincered, he could only last for so long. But his 1 kill was really all that you could have expected, and sidelined his Sandman, and from the side lines up another from Slump. Everybody is inwardly facing, and this A site is closed for business. No bomb planted. MP9s and A1S. Good spread, but the pistols are certainly not going to be the greatest and largest of weapons. We're really budgeting for that next round. The AK-47s are going to be a delight, and Marky just continuing onwards from the momentum that he'd built individually speaking, stacking up frags over from Ancient, and now continuing on in this map. He and Slump, as a matter of fact, are going to look to roll it on in. And we can welcome Mark back
Woohoo!
He's gone for a
The
moment
internet
there.
gods have welcomed me back, Tony. I was a naughty boy. I thought they were, finally taking me out, man.
Glad
You haven't got rid of me yet. Don't you worry.
No. These AK-47s are going to look to break the mold of what getting info got, which isn't saying much, to be honest
Was
with
it
you.
an exciting pistol round, Tony?
Yeah,
Were there
well,
flashy shots?
no,
Bullets flying?
no. Big shutdown though from
There you go.
getting info.
Who are going to be loving a good, strong start at the beginning of the CT side. Pressure on LAG with the ball in their court. Knowing how we feel about this Anubis. This is not a gunfight that they should be losing. MP9 squares up with the AK and comes out on top, but can't get the second.
It's good. Finishing off what was a very reasonable man advantage they could have found onto either him or Mason, but the latter now having to make up for that retrieves the Z4, groups up towards a main and the double walk in, or at least close up. It's going to be Darren Shane, the dynamic duo, to play off the pillar. But he kind of wants to see what's going on here, and he may lose his head or find the pair of them when they're not exactly ready and prepared. And Dare, having used his teammate's body to perfection, baits out the last of the kills and finds them their third and another denial to a plant. This is already looking like a bit too much to handle if you are lag. The CT side on an extraordinarily T-sided map is kicking.
And don't you forget, right? I mean, literally, I don't think literally right after this, a brief break, but there's another best of 3 that you're going to have to play regardless moving on if you are the loser, right? So whether or not you lose, you're going to have to get a quick reset, recover the mental right now. That's already been a point. Slump sees somebody behind him, and he still got that down. Finally get that trade immediately through, but a chaotic start. And it just keeps going. It's going to continue into E-Box. Marky can't quite get the job done. The connector shots are not quite guaranteed. Dare, he's going to be joining this party quite quickly. And the dynamic duo from A is going to have to shift to a different wheelhouse.
Now nade to the smoke. Shane attempting to blow it and maybe gain some vision or even do some damage atop of it, but not any of those things going to happen. I said a second ago that it was looking like they had bitten off a little more than they could or should chew, lag, but now steering things back on track. Could have gotten out of hand. Slump's got the sniper. A 5-7 for Shane to potentially have actually facilitated that. I'm not too sure. Lurk smoke at B, though, and now Slump's got to do some second guessing as to where he can comfortably post from. Or maybe it's actually given him the comfortability in order to hold towards E-Box.
Going in for seconds, potentially. Double dips doesn't find anything quite quickly. LAG got to spread their hand wide, cover as much of the map as they can. At a certain point, you're absolutely looking at a huge opportunity right now, other end of this, but probably the most reinforced point of this site. Right here, 3-box. Good Molotov that is going to really make it a cold day for Slump, but it gets heated up on the back of the site with Marky landing a huge spray, but the site handed over to LAG. Oh my gosh.
Burning.
Bold
Yeah, the
decision by
shots are
Dare.
just better for it. Wolffe is out of there. Or, excuse me, Dare is out of there. Now my wordplay ruined. And now the bomb planted safely, soundly. They sneak in through spawn, and Shane, again, delegated to just a pistol. How much can he really do about this one? I mean, I guess the saving grace is that Wolffe is close, and that weapon can have that level of damage, but turn to about face. 90 degrees to his left, it's Pizza where the sprays come through, and Snev may finish off a 1 of 4, but there's just nobody left to help him out and doing any more. Great from Wolffe in that round in order to just get his first 4 kills on the board. And the juncture where they needed a conversion, the juncture where on a bomb plant and also shutting down the sniper investment onto Slump, they give themselves some hope.
They really do, and I mean, draping their colors, I mean, particularly all over B so far. It's been a good couple of grasps in that direction, and the 2 rounds that they do take out in that site are in a row on B. So a great stint that they're going to hopefully, you know, turn into a good tally and rhythm right now. Mason with the MAC-10 hopefully can find a couple of easy frags and just to feel bit like a breeze for LAG. But that deagle shot anything but hits you on the head. And so on the other side, it should be a different story. But Dare's got a deagle for you, so just get ready to go. Don't feel like we're tuning in too much to that reel, but reel it back to the camera and you look through the lens for one shot.
He already having found his one. Walks it back. Slump actually dips back to B main to get the gun that was lost earlier on as Marky wants to deal a little more damage further beyond. A clutch potential, I guess, but the AK-47 being as far as it was, if you wanted to reintroduce himself into the scenario, then it would have been a little bit long of a while having no kit in it on top of that. So very nice AK-47 to hold on to. Really helps and bolsters their economy for a little while longer as 3-all will be upon us and the Bible will be back, and Lag have given it over thanks to that 3 in a row. A very similar scene to that last map of Ancient, except flips that on its head. It's that 3-round start on the CT side for getting info, met by 3 rounds from Lag, but what will follow that? Because this is really where things start to heat up. If this is where the CT side starts to while out once more, then Lag are going to have a pretty awkward set of financial conversations to have upon that next half. How desperate are you willing to go in force buys and things of the like?
That is the question. How bold are you willing to get? It's also on the table. A quick play here into B comes in, and they're not quite going to be landing it as they so serve. It's Shane that gets that spam onto the aggressive Mason and getting info to get the start that they desire. Trying to tease onto a more aggressive plate here. This is actually a respectable call for LAG to continue to be hot on this press. It's Brett and Wolffe that roll into the site, double entries, and now at a 3v3. But at Broken, it is not even the hardest point of this site yet to be exposed. But they just dig out Slump like that. It seems so easy. But Marky on the other side is anything but caught in the trap finally.
Nade for nade, and Snav is still over at B. The rotation took him a while. And now, without knowledge onto what could possibly be going on around the bend, he's going to have to hope to hold his own against Consti first and foremost. But yeah, just between flicks overly to the left side of him, in which Consti will capitalize on. He won't let you get away with any more. Slump with a split-second chance to maybe find a pick, into which Marky would have been much more easy and free to go for the swing preemptively. But the Molotov burning makes the AWP inaccurate. Take damage from any utility and your scope becomes a blur. That's a CS2 change, a silent nerf that they never announced. So for those of you more casual players, the more you know.
That's why we got you here. To tell me what is up, Tony, to make that change obvious.
Yeah.
Mason gets that down. So many people just learned a fun fact today. I was listening to the Sponge Reflections, and something Thorin said to him is a good stint of any analyst or somebody spitting facts is to make the fans feel like they learned something. Tony, you're the bringer of knowledge today. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You don't seem too enthusiastic about it, but hot damn! I'm gonna be loving me some Shane shots like that. Fades away and absolutely beautiful on the green. But Brett, he's going to be stepping to him on the court right now, I think, through the smoke, and this should be the end of Shane. But it is.
In the beginning of something beautiful, if Marky can keep delivering with the deagle, man, and a shot to the shoulder, which isn't followed up by Slump. Snav once more, the last left remaining on rotation, just too late to the party from the same spot in space. This time, though, it's 3 players up, and Consti may be the one to shut him out once more. This sees Lag wanting to find that lead, but Snav at least making it an expensive find. I mean, they've got so much money
5-7
in the backside, though. Yeah, of course. What? 5-7 is just goated.
Fair enough. Getting info. Sent back packing. LAG 5 rounds and back on the itinerary of how they would like any Anubis to go. A T-side thriving. 2 ahead right now of their opponents. They would like to continue a streak like that, and I'm certified to say this. Consti has gotten the bag. This man is rolling in it right now. I would like some money.
Okay.
I have my hand out for Consti right now. He's got 12,000 left, dude. A lot of cash.
Fair.
You can.
Been indecisive in spawn right there, as it looked like they wanted to go in 2 different directions for a few.
Wow.
Brett, I mean, calling upon everyone to get back towards him. It's just too little too late that the molly hits a main, and Brett will go down after his opening kill, but still a 4v4 in which favors the offense. They can walk themselves up in numbers and still have much more impact than perhaps getting info would have liked to have, but legged is Wolffe, lucky to get away with his life. And again, a haphazard peek that may have just almost costed them their chances, but it lessens them even still.
Bomb on the back of the leading man. It is Sandman. Right outside. Now Snav getting a warning out from Connector. The only standing member here with Markey. He's going to be busy on that spiel right towards the street, even pulling back this player to not really get this in quite of a grasp from B. So it's all on to Snav right here. It was Slump. He could be just chiming in once. This takes pressure away. But right here, Mason just has too much to deal with on his screen. It is all walloped up, overwhelmed by getting info and co. Dare is the only casualty. He'll be happy with that. Quite a round to recover. They roll into round 10 with newfound hope, to be honest.
Been a little while. I mean,
revived hope, rather.
Yeah, it's definitely still a good enough half as it is, as it were. And they realize that they've had pretty good game plans up against Lag in the rounds that they go head-to-head, clash-to-clash, gun-to-gun. And Slump back with his. Consti to remain competitive, but B main where the primary focus is settled. Snav having to constantly rotate, it would seem, in the late stages of these rounds. Would love to have actual opportunity to lock horns with anybody on this end. Just has to hope it isn't Consti held on to his location.
Need that goes through right onto the feet. We are revisiting
quite
quickly, 40 seconds into the round, and it's Snav caught at the back of the bomb site. Dare is just exposed right here. He's been given a new chance on it. Blind, but face right back through. Wolffe with the double. And right here it's Slump that's going to stick back in so far through and maybe alerting with the click. Bomb finally going to be going down on the side of Wolffe, and Slump, he's just feeling something around this corner. Quick scope given would have to be quite a highlight, and boy, he's warming up for it. But I don't think there is any room for a fairy tale right now. Not through the lines of LAG. They're trying to write their own destiny.
Did you feel it? Because I felt it. The energy was starting to whir.
I felt it. Oh, no. And then the 1v1 would have been on the Consti. You can't tee it up better than that. But for another time.
Consti awaiting that someone will give him that duel, and he'll actually lend it over to Slump instead. Both missing their mark, though, and then a readjustment on elevation given the smoke is there, and reading that there was a player into the corner, spotting the hit adjusted out from the crouch. Dare, oh, he's sticking to it. He remains faithful, and may be actually rewarded for that. I do wonder if they re-clear once that smoke had faded, though, but Dare, realizing that is entirely possible, doesn't want to stick around really much longer to find out.
LEG seemingly making audibles at the line. Now the way they actually adjust, they power run it down middle, and it's Brett that finds a great truck, an opening kill onto Dare, and it's Shane that is going to bend between these two angles, and he's peppering them down well. all a seasoning for Slump to get in. And look at this nade. It's going to be deadly onto Sandman, but it actually doesn't take him out. Surviving onto 3. That should have been a guarantee. But here, sitting even so low, Constantine 23 got to make their next move to A. And it's Shane versus the world particularly, but he's got help.
Trying to break these windows and maybe catch off a boost attempt. Something else a little silly, a re-smoke though. Oh! Spots them on its beginning to dissipate. Okay, Marky's out of there, and for good reason. Snav thinking to do the same, doesn't want to get caught off in street, but maybe he actually will look to find a fight. Maybe he invites them into his territory, and Wolffe actually disconnects, but all good.
It should be all good in a 2v2. But Mason, I mean, you see him twice on the side of your screen. Certainly playing like it right now. Gets a good shot like that, a double in the sight, and it's going to be a heavy hit all the way from the back. It's a triple from Mason, and LAG are blazing. They would like 8 to finish out this T side. Wolffe is back, just like that. That was rather even quicker than my DC.
Like Superman?
I guess you could say that.
My DC. Alright, go.
Yeah, go cry about it. You and the Snyderverse can. Unbelievable scenes.
I'm Cav.
Wow. Get ready for Corn Set, baby. He's the real deal. See if LAG are the rest of this map, Tone. One exclamation point. This 8-4 style. And sort of keep themselves in the driver's seat of this Anubis. It's all momentum based. Right around this corner. About to get into it for real, and just dazed for a moment. And Shane takes an easy shot, chasing after him and just trying to actually get this pulled out. Brett, he can't quite find the trade, so he's taking it personally. A bit of an overzealous peek out for the IGL of LAG. But right now, it seemingly has something on the other end, something on the hook to reel in. It's 1 kill and a hint about how A is structured.
Okay. Now, faith in the bomb carrier to stay close to Sandman if they'd like to find themselves any room to work into a site mid. I mean, the best place for it, the best place to fight out. You can catch somebody off guard. You can at least guarantee you're going to get a 1v1 on either end. In the Desert Eagle of Marquee, there's a world that's probably the most dangerous one. But Slump on an equal standing and equal footing with the 2 players in through camera. Loses his head, loses the sight, and now leaves it to Shane, who also on low HP, thankfully for the side of lag, is the perfect player to be stationed there, because it means the rest now have to work their way forwards from the opposite extremity. A molly, a smoke, the both of them locked down on either end. Getting info have to wait, but they really can't afford to. They don't have any kits.
Marky trying to break out of the quarantine right now. They're stuck in the smoke and trying to see through it. Sandman has to step up to put this all the way on a light, but he's blown out. The candle gone for LAG. And it is Snav's squad that puts this first half out. They have 5. That is more than satisfactory for this CT side. And remember, they're beaming with 1 pistol round already here on this Anubis. We got 3 minutes to see if they're going to be continuing this motion. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome back. Map 3. Lag. Getting info. Anubis. Mark, why not? A place
That's
in the next
us.
stage of stage 2.
Who's gonna do it?
I
We're
don't know, but
carrying
the loser
on
has
with
another shot. Remember that.
and that shot's with us. So you better get used to it. Getting info. Have that first pistol in their pocket. Can they make it double? It's a bit of trouble already showing out. This is awkward spacing. Sandman with a great double. That's what we were looking for him to go ahead and capitalize in round 12. Round 13, got a couple great shots for us. Bomb gone down, but the number in favor of LAG.
So smooth, those 2 shots, but retake needs to be a little smoother. Both like the players again caught off on their move back to the deeper ends of the bomb site. And Consti's dual Berettas, they do eventually cool off, overheated initially perhaps, but they'll take their time, everybody, in order to tap away all the heads needed to were dicey for split seconds, but Sandman inspires the crew with his taps.
And a discussion that actually comes down to a nice call to it. See the majority of the Galils? And the nade-strapped MAC-10s to be alongside, potentially leaning into a faster A-play already off the bat. Sneak through the smoke and see into it already. Getting info, don't want to see into a 9-10 round scenario for LAG without, really getting a good route about it on a gun round, Tony. So this is where they send their best shot early.
Looking to sink it. I like to see a competitive round following an initial pistol. Money not always really offering that kind of a conversation to be had. And Snav clearly putting all of his eggs in one basket in many ways. Obviously a very T-sided map to where leaning into these can work out in your favor. Losing them also won't really hurt you in the long run that badly. Seeing as at 10-5, you'll still have that full buy. It's a little bit of a gap to close, but again, a map that warrants those sorts of caution to the wind maneuvers, and they only have enough of a set of utility to go into one site. Well, one time do they have a shot to get through. Flash is primed and prepped onto a good space now to where Wolffe is blind. He'll turn out from this left side of the cake and find a kill and a dink onto the first. He's lucky to have been gotten away with so much damage, but Mason also alleviating some of the space that's been taken by his extremities. Sandman, who's on the rotate, not too far off, is Brett just as well, but one mouse click and one hold down for Mason, expecting them to run him through, but Dare can't quite get to a weapon with more ammo and time to divert from the Glock.
Approaches it confidently, bomb plant, getting info, cause a lot of difficulty in that LAG side, but they're not coming out on top right within this vein. Consti gets that defuse off, and it's 9 rounds that are written across the board for LAG, but Stab & Co. never let out anything from a round like this. And to be honest with you, I feel like I was about to say they're about to get really creative with a batch of Tech 9s, maybe save some of the cash for it, but what? You can get your hands onto a premium rifle, practically run back something maybe with a little bit more brute force, but they don't quite have the speed, Tony. What's the call here?
Slow.
And steady.
Doesn't always win the race.
For Brett.
Not really
a hater of the tortoises all of a sudden?
Yeah, not Hundo P, sure. What they're going
What if it was
rip with an
Tortai?
AK-47, but Dare, he's going to have to be a real splinter that I need to pull out.
Ouch.
Now needing this AUG also to get a little bit of information towards Canals at some point, maybe. Otherwise, they may be popped upon. A lot of maybes, a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but a spray rained in that was a little messy to begin with, but honestly laser focused on a Consti by the finish, and 3 HP, he's been gifted. And so too of getting info now, with so much to work with, and Consti being the one to fall also just gives them knowledge that the op has not yet been brought.
Sandman approaches. Separated from Mason, but they are connected in this call, and Mason has to ball between that Molotov. He's forced to fight, and right here, backing out is Dare. Already been separated on this, but now even forced to go within that site. It's actually turned out to be quite a manageable press, but the bomb is still got to get there. And now it's all gone onto Brett. They've just got to find this frag, and they do. Shane doubles up and makes it a triple all the way from 3 with that Galil working a great round at the beginning of the C side.
And now it's Lag who are starting to maybe sweat. I mean, it's, again, I said earlier in the first half, going to be uncomfortable decisions as far as their buys are concerned on this CT side should the rounds get too close. And they did get too close. 5 for GI. I mean, it's undoubtedly one of the better or best halves you can ask for on Anubis. Marky once more showing that he's got prowess on whatever weapon you give him in this map. And now given the high firepower rate and penetration of an AK-47, may be able to deal even more damage even further, but without vision, Dare can only do so much, and Slump will refrag and actually get out of dodge and get out of space, but he kills himself.
One nades in the chat. I think that was with the nade G. Poor guy. Gone but not forgotten. That is going to be getting info walking wounded. Wasn't going to be Slump carrying along for much longer, though. Was hit up for it. And softened for a situation like that. Bomb going to be an approach on the other end. Connector going to be doubled up, where there's a trio in the site of Lag members right to give it a grasp. But it's actually going to be where the full throttle meets up. I mean, 30 seconds to give this a good go. I was mistaken. It's all from the front end right now. So this is going to be a good go about it. 25 seconds. LAG should let nothing pass this line. And even burning in the fire, Sandman does so much. All Consti has to do here is work with the time, work with the smoke to fray. But Marky, he could just feel something within this vicinity. 13 and 10 ticking to go. Marky magnetically connects to Consti and now hops to the site. But right now, with one more player to find, no kill connected, would have to turn on to Wolffe, and it's not even sent for. Wolffe may not even find Marky, and he does, literally at the last millisecond, but that doesn't change anything. 10 rounds for LAG, 3 away from moving across the next part of the upper bracket.
All 5 died, though. The buy is not going to be much better. So it's another shot, and where Snav can say pretty reasonably that we should go for this one. A little less of a Hail Mary, but even still being thrown short. The end zone is in sight for Lag, but we're only entering the 4th quarter now.
Oh my gosh, Tony with those sports references. We love this.
You like that? You like that? Ah!
All right, calm down, Kirk.
Sorry.
And this one into a different scene. Wolffe on that side. They just pass by because there is quite a bunch. The entire team behind that smoke and a flash to invite that in. Carpet going to be wiped. It's going to be Mason, the floorboards, and that nade to try and make it a deal. Sandman here could try and take advantage of a sleeping Slump. Can't quite do it. Got to get more connections from up top. And Consti could have got a third. Brett right where he needs to be. On scene, but it's Snap that locks him up. Tape across the board, a team ace for getting info, and they come together when they need to.
Rise against, holy. They did it. They said, can we just go through this? In regards to the smoke that was plopped at their face. With everybody there, you may as well, and it works. But even though it does, it could have turned at any point. It felt like there was so much multi-kill potential for so many different players, and very nearly bringing it from heaven. But final and last of the hurdles. Brett facing the same syndrome in which Snav had last, and that's B-rotator syndrome. It's never a fun one. Typically the E-box player, so he's deepened in this round as well on the other sides of the smoke. Now with so much utility to try and push him into an uncomfortable space to where he needs to move and make something happen. He only got that 5-7. He hasn't anything to smoke off a molly. He doesn't have any flashes to go in for a fight unless sent up by a teammate. And Mason, I can see that he's holding and pinning one now, but Dare's already close. Dare's already inching forwards. Oh, he's got him. Wait, another flash here, and he may get one for free, but not quite. Snav will manage it.
Pushing out Sandman. No, he's got to be here in this corner, and they hook him on the line. Now it is the rest of LAG in the net, but they are not out free yet. They got sharp claws on that side. Need better fear reaching into the bag. They're right here. They do their due diligence. They're trying to take this one step at a time, finding these pistols, not letting themselves get taken advantage of, finding that foot even around the corner. And there's a member right up on the street. Constantly to push that forward, and it is Marky that continues chewing through him. A full set between Marky and Snab, and they are putting together quite a collection.
Pretty smooth. I mean, it could have gone much worse. Marky with a blinder, literally, no vision on him, holds mouse 1 on the angle that he was already expecting there to be a player positioned in. Head level. Spray is good. How can you miss it? Another one with just pistols, but this one, not by design. An HE for Wolffe is the only thing they have going for them right now. So let this be the HE to rule them all. Nothing.
Oh. Nobody home.
Thank
Arrow
you.
Continue to look. Lion's old Brett hanging around, and I get a feeling Dare's Mac 10 is gonna begin to actually get out and see into the field. Sees onto the pitch, and he gets something back on the grass. 2 all the way doctored up by his own hand. Slump comes in. It gets him a handful. He gets that headshot onto Mason. Can he get another?
I mean, they're both in the same spot in space right now, so if somebody stumbles upon them, they may have some money to fry. Drops E-Box. Nobody spotted or seen. The MAC-10 will deviate from the plan, lose its life as response, and even Sandman will fall at the last second. This distance has been closed. It's Lag who really netted themselves that grace period. They could afford to lose some rounds. They could afford to go for some saves. They could afford to make some mistakes and go for risky maneuvers. But now they've got to lock it in. Now they've got to hold down a split map 2-1-2 and constantly given utility enough to stuff deeper in the mid to elicit the idea that he may be going to peek from the bridge. And they're trying to actually pressure a main just the same. So getting info now. They know that a lot of this utility has been expended in this area of the map. They know that they could probably have a pretty high likelihood of finishing there, and without there being much utility to counter, have just walked on in, dry, a contact play, and no one has seen it. Wolffe is not yet spotted around this bend, and the MP9 may just be blindsided in seconds, or Wolffe will spring into action as just the same as he had not seen them. It's they who had not seen him as a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you would. 3 kills in a moment where that A-site could have just crumbled beneath the hold of getting info, and Snav is between 2 minds and between 2 worlds, 2 players in which will secure them 11.
I mean, well said, Tony. Where you have Wolffe on that site to actually be that manner. I thought I was literally just about to doctor up a conversation. Mason with his knife out, about to walk into 3 players, right? And Wolffe even gets that back on the adjustment. LAG just found themselves a miracle round falling into their lap after the last couple that have been so conclusive from getting info. Mason continues to want to go ahead and get this down on the mats. But right now, I mean, he's been sweated out. Slump with that opening kill as well will continue to tally, and it's LAG that throw their bodies in the fire. Red tries to push. Wolffe in the bush now as well. And it's going to be a hard day getting info up to 10 most likely. Ooh. Slump to put Mason in the bag as well, and there's room for Consti, I promise. bomb right here.
Boy,
Trying to serve it over. I respect it.
there's nobody
Different
there to throw it
spot.
to, Shane. You're playing catch
Oh
with a
my
ghost.
A lateral that turns into a fumble. That is recovered. Whistle blown.
That could have been something worse even. Constantly had the right idea. Bested by his counterpart on the other side who encloses on his kill count. And then closes on his round count too. This one's going to be a stinger. This one's going to be a painful one to look up at on your screen when you're playing out and trying to listen and make decisions. That's going to be rattling in the back of your mind that the T side has met you at a head at the final stages of a map that typically doesn't let you. Sink or swim, do or die. Men from boys. You get the picture.
The info make themselves look big in middle. Utility, the spams, pushing every sort of sent back. A little bit awkward trying to clear back. It's respect that they do even alert. Getting info, know that they have a bit of muscle back in middle, numbers outside of B. And Brett with the 5-7 on an island. You're to just try and literally cracking one coconut would be fine. Getting down with one frag would be the bare minimum, but this is what Brett needs to do to extend the life cycle of this site. It seems like we are facing into a tied game, and there's not a damn thing that LAG can do to make this all the way proven.
Sandman had a split second where he may have been able to deny the plant, but still would have been killed. So, wouldn't have mattered all that much. And with what they've got, with the loss bonus accumulating and building and swelling, I feel like going for exits here is just not really the biggest importance to them. But also, it's only really like the armor that they care about at the end of the day, so a little bit of kill reward would be cool. Not even head armor to go along with it. Consti thinks better of that scenario and probably can still make good use of the MP9, seeing as Wolffe wasn't exactly the wealthiest of guys. If he wants to toss that over, they've traded in some capacity and given faith into Consti, who's been pretty consistent so far with the big green, now turned into the big white, gray, and red. If the skins equal wins, Mark, are they winning this?
Yeah, ask Arrow about last night, Al. I think he'll tell you a different tale.
This is an all-determining round for lag. I mean, they're just frankly done if they can't win here. They'll have nothing. A save
Slump
imminent if
posted
they
up.
can.
It is going to be necessary. Got to cash in on it here. Cash in on the upper bracket is what you want. Consti, moving this forward inch by inch. Can barely see the shadows slump, but can see Shane. And now the call to Snab to give this thing a good ring. Consti putting his life on a fine line, and he backs it up before it does get cut. Waiting for this to fade outside of A. And with that just seen flashed in between Consti's eyes, we're getting a whole lot of information back on this, but it's the real deal onto A.
The loser of this goes on to play Lycus Empire at 11-11. That's what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to see Boss in that upper bracket. You're trying, if you're Snav, to find that you've made the right decision in the move over.
It seems like their final destination will be right here on this B site. Sandman and Brett, for it all to be avoided. And a big nades, give them a warning, but it's Brett seeing the fading back, and he's got a shot up like that. Sandman with a very good kill, and Marky can make a bit of space like that. They've proven it. They have got it out here for real. Getting info. They straight down on this B site, and they've got it in their own colors as well. Man advantage up with the bomb down. It's an impossibility for Consti and Wolffe.
Slump ramping up in the clutch with the AWP and finding the first. It's Mason who's gone, and Consti whose angle is not an easy one, and no one will walk into it. No one will give him the time of day, and Wolffe smoked time. Speaking of it, only has the one kit. If he's to go down, it's Consti who's got to make a move. The first already having been made, and the molly up with Fluff. The molly up the mark, but Wolffe on the money. He's going to elevate himself as well as hit the ground with accuracy. With Consti now posted, it's Marky in the clutch, and a missed shot that costs them.
Cashing in on 12. Marky had it all the way from B main in a triple, but it was all fate, and it works out, and it falls on the plate of getting info. They just got one more bite to get a 13-11, and their ticket to the next round to face Boss, Tony. That is the storyline that you served up right at the start of this, and who the hell would have thought we'd get it in the second round of the upper bracket just literally a day after the Snav moved back to his boys.
This is a crazy roundabout way for all these players to meet. We were talking about webs being woven yesterday. Talking about the connections that some of these players have and their histories. Many a time over multitude different rosters. And today, I mean, it's really probably the most interesting it's ever been. Like, genuinely, I intend on making a flowchart after this broadcast to be able to really contextualize just how crazy this is. It's all making sense. Snav has made the move, and it's looking pretty good. It's pretty early. It's a test in which lag, overcoming PA yesterday, and now putting up the good fight up against the new look, getting info's also got to be commended, but they're not going to be down and out. They need to force this OT, or else otherwise face that Lycus Empire. Otherwise face elimination from this qualifier in towards Pro League. They've been able to hang, but right now it's Wolffe with the only fully automatic rifle.
Nade going right to Snav. That'll hurt. But maybe it won't be ringing for too long. Hopefully that doesn't disturb too much of the motion up there for Snav. I wonder what he's got planned for us right here as we just hit a minute mark and we're starting to tick on 60.
Brett on the jiggle, a Molotov to stall. It's 45 seconds, so that Molly actually may do some good. He throws it close because they could have disrespected the CT incendiary. Pardon and a smoke to boot. Another 20 on the clock. It'll tick off the bomb on Dare. They wanted to commit towards B. They wanted to finish here. And once all of it fades, the shots are going to have to be instantaneous. And now a head back, a run, a full sprint, and audio cues for Mason. But Dare's faked it. He's gone back in. This could be everything or nothing. A nothing burger as Mason gets his run in with his attention taken away, even managing to find a frag, but the time is of the essence. Again, I can't emphasize it enough, and Marky realizing this, about face, left, right, swing all over the place, and that is not only describing the players on lag, but the mentality and mindset of where getting info want to go, and by the time they figure it out, there's nothing as far as a B site is concerned. We're going to overtime.
Got to get more than this regulation to help us out here. It was an Anubis that was, quickly finished by Boss versus Lycus in a 13-10. We'll be watching alongside this to see where exactly getting info or LAG. Now they're going to be, prompting to see either of these squads and what they're made out of in that next round. With getting info scraping along, that was, without even a doubt, their round 24 to lose.
Shot.
Huge pickup. Instant rotate, Tony.
Mason being gone after having been a really influential piece to that last round with all of 1 kill, I think. His presence instilled enough fear in them to leave all the second guessing, to leave them with all of the knowledge handed over to their opponents. Brett wisens up to the possibility now of the opening in mid that's been left, the gap, not enclosed upon by Dare, not until he's been grouped up with a couple of other numbers and trying to finish out. It looks like an A split for me, only considering that the only lurker in this round is Shane towards A main.
40 seconds and they're quiet. Is A, the Apple currently on their eye through the camera? That's what it seems to be. But through the lens on that AUG, you're not finding nothing. Consti, he is the hidden poach right now to go, and he's just sound in for the very first time. Slump, he knows what is on the docket now, and he swaps out to the AK, becoming more mobile. This is Consti against it all right now, and he is bodied against Slump. This is getting info that streak into overtime with quite speed.
Building character right now, and building a bit more of a group effort to which was once a lot of Marquee and a lot of Slump. Now sprinkle in a little Dare, Snav, and Shane. You've got problems arising if you're lag. Consti is considerably cooled off to where Slump is only just starting to ramp up little by little. It seems like the graph on the chart would have seen them cross each other's paths as far as consistency and impact just about 2 rounds or so ago. Ooh, almost rectification, almost redemption from Consti as one crosses from mid and the other posts deep. It's the one who he'd hate to waltz into on a timer. The crouch in, and the shoulder even been seen. I thought that Slump had that one. He reacts almost too quickly, it seemed. He shoots before Consti's fully entered his range of scope, into which Consti says, thank you, head to head, I'm back, and we're tied. But the only thing that isn't tied about this one is our man advantage.
It's Mason that arrives on street. Consti continues to collect. And potentially with Shane to also waltz into his crosshair. He's got a feeling and feeling damn good. A great flick, and now he's got to turn attention. Turning the tides is Snav, and he's got 2 on it. Marquee here to be the next sign of death, and he has got another head off of the body. Don't let getting info get hot. They've got to recover the bomb here. Got to recover a lot of space, and they're testing Mason and Sandman right now in their connection. Bomb back to A before they have something to say about it.
Marquee has a smoke. There's one from A main. They don't know about him yet, but they knew that Mason was going to go for a rotate of some capacity. It's Sandman with the AUG who can be a difference maker if they're not ready for him. No smoke yet to be deployed. Marquee, he's going to hold on to it. He'd rather use his brawn than his brain. His utility is of not use to him. And Snab could say the same. 3 in this round from him. They're trying to put it together, and Snab, the hero of it all, where 1 bullet is the difference. And how has he managed to not only walk his way into A and find the multi, but finish it off with the side of Marquee? Holy Lord. That's how they get 14, and that's frankly a backbreaker, a mental resetter for lag if I've ever seen. Consti, how much more could he have done?
I mean, there's not much more. There's literally not much more. It brings us back to that Brett double up that we had earlier that was then destroyed, all the way gone. And I mean, it's literally just Snav taking it personally. I remember early in our train conversation, one of the very first points that we brought up in talking about this move to the familiar faces back on getting info. I mean, Snav was one of the most individually effective players out there for Boss. And I mean, not only are they going to be missing that force, it's going to be rounds like that that are reminding you exactly why.
Oh. Breathe. Continue to do so. You are lag. Dare's already swiftly sent with resources up through mid-house to where brutally they've been tested before. Lag now in response, waste no time to push through main. It's only Wolffe who's doing any of the pushing, though. It's Brett on actually the other side of it, who's gone a little farther beyond with the MP9 and killed neither, but softened both. That could be something. I mean, maybe better off than killing one of them and getting refragged, perhaps. But Dare, oh no, he might have dealt them a dirty hand. I mean, losing Brett, the player who had aggressed through B main, makes it easy to read that there's got to be at least one more on B, but it's weak.
But they're just in connector, though. That's what's going to be spoiling this. Marky is going to have to waltz in without the information, but just on the corner. It is now Consti that's going to have to rely on the AUG
so
right
low.
next to it.
All
and
three.
Now just posting it open, Tony. They need to get that down. There is no way in hell. And Slump gets this bomb into a press. It's this nade that's going to up-press all the way into the corner. Look at the HP, though. A thin veil that getting info hides under.
Oh, Shane's going to hear the player coming from spawn. Does he have his gun out in time? He will, and even still takes a lot of damage for his efforts. And the nade, Marky on the end of that doorway, leaves a 2 versus 3. Speaking of which, Snav, he was a massive member of the last round, and he's not done. At least not with this game. He'd like to be, and in order to do so, he needs to frag out and go wild. A kid on the Mason in desperation settles. He knows there's no way that they win unless he pulls the clips and wires, and Snav will not allow it, not on his domain. This is one of the most crazy turn of events held by one player.
Snav taking it into his own hands. You know what he is facing into, potentially right on the other end. He knows his former teammates and boss are watching alongside. And with B-Wills and Sauce Boy to be filling those shoes, they ought to be shaken. This is crazy. And it's going to give 30 seconds for Semphis and Ario to get on the mic for potentially the final time in this series.
This is absolutely wicked, man. Timeout, to which could very well be the last. $15 to 12, Lycus Empire, a weight lag in the bracket below in about an hour and 15. If they can't do it now, they can't make that return. An aggressive smoke. Consti bypassing it, disrespecting it, and sending Snap to the Shadow Realm. The one who had so very often given them a problem. A Molly and an HE, though, and Dare, will he burn? Brett, swings in and actually realizes that that may be a possibility. Sandman also taking his timing. Everyone going through on their own, and everybody making their own decisions seems to have worked out fine until it's Shane from the back of the site. Swing in for his double, deals with the E-Box player, deals with the B-main push, and leaves Mason in the red, and Slump on the off. He's missed very few shots, and that one is the shot of a lifetime to send them into the next round against Boss and into a big game for these players.
That's going to be a personal matchup out there for Snav, seeing into all those familiar faces out there, but it was proven in round 20.